This summer, the government is going to be announcing its list of its final new towns. These are the communities it's going to be pushing forward and accelerating to help us meet the 1.5 million home goal. To give the government a little bit of guidance, Place Northwest, Place Yorkshire and Place Northeast gathered people together at UKREiiF to really look at what it takes to make a successful new town.
Things that we discussed were the importance of identity, the importance of geography, the importance of maintenance, but the importance of staying true to a vision but allowing it to evolve over time.
We talked a lot about how do we actually create a place that people want to be in, and the existing community are part of it, but also attracts new people. So what does a housing look like? What do amenities look like? What does the placemaking feel like? And how do we really lean into the existing place, the heritage and all of that, to make this a really credible and compelling place to want to live and work in?
Well, I think what's interesting about today is actually getting the group in its broadest sense, facilitated through the panel and led by Julia, to think about the process of designing and delivering a new town. And that energy and that sort of creativity helps people explore new ideas, new themes, and perhaps shift paradigm. And that means that there's great opportunity, more value that opens up in those different spaces for those different people in those different locations. I thought what was really fascinating was the relationship between this imaginary town and its city compatriot, and what the dynamic was between those, and also its coastal setting. I thought what was fascinating about it, which was a question from the floor, was recognising that the harbour, as it turned out, was this critical, central idea and concept which everything else in its hinterland focused on. And additionally, that 50% of the people engaging with the town were coming from the sea, or at least the sea represented 50% of that geography. And therefore, making sure that we and the town responded to that and thought about that was a really, really interesting and fascinating dimension.
Transport is access to opportunity. It's not the trains and the buses. It's what they do to you and allow you to have that's important. And the other point that was made, which I'd like to hear a bit more about, is cities and towns take a long time to build, years. So relocation is actually a really key part of the strategy, to make sure you've already got some people who want to come in at the beginning, who can lay the foundations for, make it a great place to live in year 1, 2 and 3 and not year 20.
I suppose my biggest takeaway was, how do we have the right governance in place to enable these places to thrive? On day one, it tends to fall onto the local government to do everything. But actually, as citizens of that place, we all have a responsibility to get involved. So how do we make sure that we are using the resources that we have in our places to really enable those places to thrive? So how is a college involved? How is a local school involved? What about the cafes and the restaurants and the hotels? How are we all pulling together to make sure that we are thinking about what this place needs for the long term, and how do we embed that today? Another really interesting point was around how do we test ideas early, because it's a long-term plan. How do we start to put those things in place today so that we get a buy-in from the local community and we really encourage that community to feel that it's for them?